Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of CJ's Coins and Crafts. This episode we are going to be talking about another commemorative. This one comes from 1893, and this is the Isabella Quarter. This comes from 1893. It was issued around the same time as the Columbian Exposition half dollar, and was actually minted in 1893, with a half dollar being minted from 1892 to 1893. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of a preface for the players that we have. So the first player that we have in this is Mrs. Potter Palmer, or Bertha Palmer. She's going to be, she was a well-known Chicago socialite, patron of the arts. That she was uh, named Grand Dame of the Columbian Exposition, and she was on the board of the lady managers of the Exposition. And we'll touch on that in just a second. Next person that we have is Susan B. Anthony. You might notice, you might remember Susan B. Anthony from the dollars that have been issued out. That she was really integral in, or pivotal in, the women's rights. So Susan and Bertha actually worked together to create the board of lady managers, which is a big part in this whole piece. So we'll touch on that. Another person is Miss Petal. So Miss Petal, Carolyn Petal, was an artist and a sculptor. Um, that she was initially given the opportunity to design the this souvenir coin, the quarter dollar, um, to come up with designs for that. And then we have Charles Barbour. Now, you might know Charles Barbour as being the designer for the Barbour series of the Barbour dimes, the Barbour quarters, and the Barbour half dollars, as well as a number of other coins that have been issued by the mint. So he will play a part in it, in this whole picture here very soon. Okay, so now one last one. This one is Queen Isabella of Spain. Her reign was from 1830 to 1904, and she plays a part in this in later on. Okay, so now that we got the players set up, we are going to talk about Miss Palmer and Miss Anthony. So these two together were came up with the creation of the board of lady managers, and what they wanted to do was basically have their own section, their own part of the World's Fair that really showed that women can do, everything that the men could do. So they wanted their own building, they wanted their own exhibits, and it was a big thing, especially with women's rights being being introduced, and women's voting rights, and how that all played together. So with Miss Palmer, there was legislation that was put forth for the souvenir coin, this quarter dollar, that for the same purpose that the Columbian half dollar was put out, was to raise money to build the women's building, which looks like this. This is the inside of the women's building, to fund the building of this hall, this exhibition hall. So I'm going to read off a part of the report from the fourth session, of the meeting of the Board of Lady Managers. This comes from the 4th session, April 26, 1893. And I'm going kind of in the middle of the page here. Legislation for the Board of Lady Managers has been most favorable. We were so fully assured of the sympathy of Congress and his approval to our purposes that we had little doubt of securing the appropriation necessary to carry them forward. There were, nevertheless, many points nearly touching our interests that had to be carefully guarded. In their management, your committee showed remarkable ability and discretion. The suggestion made and approved at our last meeting that we be given a souvenir coin was sympathetically received by the committee of both houses and promptly acquiesced in. It was our desire to have a woman to model this coin in order that our record should be consistently maintained and the impress of a woman's hand appear on all work done for and by our board. After a suitable presentation of the matter to the authorities in Washington, they kindly consented that this be done, and we had regarded it of the most valuable favors that had been shown us. Some misunderstanding between the artist selected, Miss Petal, and the director of the mint as to the design on the reverse side of the coin caused her to decline the honor that had been accorded her. As there was no time to be lost in securing the services of anyone else, it being essential to the success of the sale that the coin be issued at an early day, we immediately placed its modeling entirely in the hands of the director of the mint, who has been remarkably courteous, considerate, and sympathetic throughout. We may, therefore, expect the issuance of the Board of Lady Managers Quarter on or about June 15th. It will bear the obverse side of a portrait of Queen Isabella, surrounded by the words United States of America, and on the reverse a figure in relief symbolic of women's industries. The design for this figure we do not consider typical of the woman of the present day, as the woman is represented kneeling with the distaff in her hands, but the necessity for haste forced us, while recording our objections, to ask that the minting of the coin be proceeded without waiting for other sketches. There has been much discussion as to whether the inscription Board of Lady Managers should appear, but by the courtesy of the Secretary of the Treasury, that honor has finally been granted us. The demand for these coins has already been very great, and we expect their successful sale to form one of the brilliant features connected with the administration of the Board of Lady Managers. So this comes from the reports of their meetings that they had. So some key points in what she was saying is that there was a disagreement between the mint director and Miss Petal for the design. So then the choice was given to the mint director to have this design done immediately so that it could be released. When they really wanted all of this done, designed and everything by a woman. So it ended up being given to Charles Barbour, who designed the rest of the coin. And this is the first coin issued by the U.S. that featured a foreign monarch, which is Queen Isabella of Spain. So there was a lot of demand for these souvenir coins, and the $50 had already been out for a price of $1, and these quarters came out at the same price. So the high sales of the $50 kind of took away from the sales of the quarter, which is not necessarily bad. It just means that there was less demand than what they had hoped. But they did have the max amount that was allowed to be minted, and that was 40,000 pieces. And 15,809 pieces of these were actually melted, leaving about 24,000 pieces that were left to be distributed. Um, Go back to, so this is the design that we ended up getting for the quarter, and I'm going to put up Queen right there. So it shows Queen Isabella on the obverse, and the board of lady managers did show up on the reverse. Um, they did say that they were objected to the motif that was shown on the reverse, because it showed a woman kneeling, which is really a submissive, and they really wanted a strong design to represent the women's movement in this whole piece. But I think that this coin, this commemorative, which is the second commemorative that came out, and obviously the first one that showed a foreign monarch, is really kind of an interesting piece in that it was done at the same time as the half dollar, 1893, and it was basically prefaced to be the same, for the same purpose, that to raise money to build the women's building and to house all of the exhibits and everything that was going on for the World's Fair of in Chicago. So I just wanted to do this little history, for this particular coin. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like this video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you guys have any questions, you can email me at the emails that is on the bottom of the screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.